Hi, so welcome to the Agriton podcast. What we're going to talk about today is soil reports, soil analyses, and what's the best way to do it, how to get the most out of them, and what to look for in one. So we've got our beloved leader, Feersma Hoekstra here. He's going to guide us through it because he's the expert. I'm going to split this into three sections. The first section will be the basics. So how do you actually get a soil report? The second one will be what to look for in a soil report. So what choices do you need to make to pick the lab to do the analysis? And the third one is how to use it, because it's all well and good having a soil report, but if you don't know how to use it, it's pretty worthless and a lot of money down the toilet. So without further ado, I shall introduce Jan here. Jan's technical director of Agriton here in the UK, and he's going to tell us all about soil analysis. So my first question is, why do you need a soil analysis?
Why do you need a soil analysis? Yeah, you have to, in the mainstream, there are two types of soil analysis. Yeah, one analysis tell you what actually is in the soil, not only direct available, but also in the storage. Yeah. Other type of soil analysis I see a lot in this country are just analysis from what is soluble. Okay. Because a lot of people still think that only when the element is in solution can be taken in by the plant. A full soil analysis, where is, if you look, if you would compare it with making a dinner, you have stuff in the fridge, you have stuff in the kitchen, and you have stuff on your plate. Yeah. And if you want to know what is the total amount of food, what is in your house, you have to know all three. You know that what is on your plate you can't store. Yeah, what is in the fridge you can store, and what is on your while you're cooking, what is actually on your on the preparation plate has to be eaten as well in a period. Yeah. If you have only the results from what is on your plate, you only know what you can eat today, and when you're well, a little bit careful, maybe you can eat it tomorrow as well. But what's in the fridge, you can eat over a week. So most soil analyzers I see in this country are this what is on my plate. But you need a soil analysis to know over the year, and not only this year, but also in the future, because agriculture is a plan for at least 5 years and not per year, what you can count on for the coming years and how to modify that in the coming years.
Okay. So you said that agriculture is a 5-year plan. How often should you have a soil analysis done then?
Well, the way I do it, and I think normally I would do it once a 5 year, but to be very honest, if a farmer tells me I have a soil analysis here and I had just a normal rotation, what I always do, and I use slurry on non-slurry, and I ask him how many tons and everything, I can easily work with a soil analysis what is 10 years old.
10 years?
Even it is the full analysis.
Yes.
What has fridge, yeah, kitchen, and plate. But when I have the first one, what's only on my plate, it's most of the time not even sufficient enough for 1 year.
Wow. Okay. So get a good one. So you don't have to do it often if you get a good one done.
That's correct. And that's why the good ones are always cheaper on the end, on the long run, than the cheap one.
Yeah. Buy cheap, buy twice.
Yeah. Counts also here.
Yeah. So you want to make sure that you're getting the best soil analysis done. So what's the best way to sample? How do you go about making sure that
first of all, you have to know that you look at the farm and look at your fields, because you can have a field on a slope. What is the lower side is not near to a stream, and the top side can be sandy. If you make a mixed soil sample there, you know, it's like going hunting. Shoot once in front of the hare, shoot once after the hare. In average, you have a hare, but you come home with no hare. And that is with soil sampling the same. So you have first to look at the whole picture and say, okay, what do I want to know, where I want to know it. And if you do that and you can work 5 to 10 years with a soil sample, it's better to take one extra or do it over the years, more fields, more correct.
Okay. So if you've got 10-hectare field, say, for example, how many samples would you take from that?
Well, first of all, you need the good sample equipment. Yes,
Okay.
there is very good sample equipment. What gives you for every little sample you take is always the same volume. And
Right.
on those, that is like a little hand bore you put into the soil, you turn it over, and there is a line on it when it is 20 or 25 centimeter deep. That is the tillage area, and you want to know which nutrients do I have there, isn't
Right.
it?
So you can't
So
get a trowel and dig a little hole.
no, that's nonsense. That is, you can't do that because you know, if you have variation in the field, you will have you will easily overestimate one part of the field and to another part of the field. So you have to make a Z or a W walk over the field.
Okay.
Yeah, there's the farmer or the W or a Z, the letter Z or the letter W, and then every 20 steps you take a small soil sample. Yeah,
Okay.
and so you walk over the fields, and in the end you have a bucket full of soil. You mix that bucket full of soil, and take from that a soil sample and send that to the lab. That is good soil sampling.
Okay.
So every sample you take is the same depth, is the same amount, and you take as and you can the more precise you want. Yeah, but first of all you have to look: is my field in general equal?
Okay.
Because if you make a W and a Z and everything you do perfectly well, yeah, but on the top it's sand and on the bottom it's heavy clay. Yeah, if you do it like that, you do everything right, but you do one principal thing wrong. You should have divided that field in at least two different fields.
Okay. So you want a soil sample from each representative type of soil from the field.
Yeah, you know, if I have a field of say 20 acres, yeah,
Yeah.
and 2 acres is different, well, maybe you shouldn't bother too much, you know. It is not that precise, I would say. Ideal, yes, but you have always to think about, can I treat that other part, what I sampled separate? Can I treat it also separate? Otherwise, I would go with the biggest average.
Right.
But
Okay.
it's worth to consider it because it can save you money by using less or more fertilizer on certain areas, and it can bring you more yield if you do it more precise.
So precision agriculture. So the more you know, the more you can be precise.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And the future is there. We will, in the future, we will have fertilizer spreaders, which can do, I won't say per square meter, but come very close because it's all on the radiographics, it is all sampled. So we come closer and closer to that in the future.
Okay, excellent. So what about things like rough parts of the field? So if you've got, say, for example, an area that waterlogs regularly, or the headlands, would you include those or?
If I have an headland, you can include in it because the headland is the problem with yield is most of the time not the nutrient state.
Right.
It's most of the time headlands is compaction and other problems. Nutrient wise, it could be in waterlogged areas that the amount of nutrients available there can be lower because if there is always water, it sinks away. On the other hand, if that water comes from other part of the field, what takes it nutrients also to the pool, that can be richer. If it is really a big problem, then first of all, try to find out why it is waterlogged. Can you solve that problem? And if you want to really precise, you could take another sample there to have just a little bit feeling, is it there so much different?
Okay, excellent. So while you're taking this soil sample, I know a lot of reports, they'll do something like microbial activity, and soil health is a big thing. So is
Yeah,
there anything you could look at? Because obviously you don't want to put earthworms into your
you
sample. Or,
know, I have much respect for labs who try to put that on their soil sample. And they find always ways to find a figure for it.
yeah,
But the soil microbiota is very, very different. It's very, very difficult to understand. And we only maybe we know only, I think, we know actually less than 10% what happens there.
okay,
Maybe even less than 1%, I heard once a researcher telling us. So if you see some do the microbial activity, they do a respiration test. So
yeah,
they say, okay, we log a part of the soil. Yes, then we take the water away. Then all the aerobic microbes are dead, and we see how fast that organic matter, yes, is actually digested. That gives CO2. We measure the CO2 or we measure the ammonia, and the more CO2 or the more ammonia we measure, the more microbial activity.
Yeah.
On itself can be correct, but you don't know, first of all, how much anaerobic there was, and you don't know either if it is good microbes or bad microbes. So I think the figure what is there today is overestimated. People who have a lot are happy, I have a lot. People who have nothing and are very low, they think, oh my God, this is not good, I need more. But it doesn't tell you if it is good microbes or bad microbes. It doesn't say the interaction. You don't know if it is aerobe or anaerobe. So good try, but don't look too much at that figure.
Okay, so you're out in the field, you've got your soil sampling device. What can you do to check your soil health? Just a few signs. What when you're actually doing it?
It sounds very strange, maybe. Yeah, your nose is one of the best things you can use. You don't need to go to the lab. Yeah, if and a real good arable farmer, yeah, knows that very well. If you have a garden, gardeners knows it quite often very well, because when you have a garden and you need a spade and you have to work really in the garden, yeah, and you have a heavy part what was very wet on clay, or you have a nice part what is easily dug in with clay, you can smell the difference.
Okay.
Really is a big smell. Actinomycetes is a kind of fungus you can smell. If they are there, your soil is good, because they live in the marvelous equilibrium. There is enough oxygen, there is enough water, not too much. Yes, there is organic matter because they live on organic matter. All the things are there. Another very good thing is earthworms.
Yeah.
It's just as simple. You don't have to go for a lab. If you have plenty of earthworms, I can tell you your soil is in good condition.
Okay.
If you have none, you have to think about what is wrong.
Yeah.
So, but you know, if I walk a field and I walk on a field, I can't see how much nitrogen is there, magnesium is there, potash is there. Yeah. Yes. If you walk over the field and you have very sticky clay, then you know already your magnesium is very high. Yeah. Because magnesium makes your soil sticky. And when you have, how do you call that when it comes like when it compacts very much on the top? Sinking?
Caps.
Sorry.
You get a soil cap.
So when it's soil caps, you know already that your potash is high. Because potash is a one plus element and doesn't combine the clay layers, so it slits off, and you got like a tarmac road, you know, and the water won't go away, and it won't evaporate, and it will plow bad, and you have a lot of simple things you can see, you know. But to want to really know what's going on in the soil, you need a good soil analysis, especially nutrient wise, but also organic matter wise.
Right. Okay. Well, I don't want to jump ahead because this is a topic for another podcast. But I mean, so we've covered when, how, and why. So, are there any other things to bear in mind when you're getting ready to do a podcast? What time of year should you do it, for example?
Well, the best time in the year is a period before the new crop.
Okay.
Yeah, because then you know that the crop has taken the elements away. You had to have a winter. Then you know really what the capacity of a soil is. And when you have low plant available on that moment, but you have plenty of stock, so there is enough in the fridge, yeah, then you can always look at things like amount of organic matter in the soil, yes, the amount of sand, silt and clay, what is there, and then you can, and as long as your soil is well drained there, then you know as soon the temperature comes, your microbial activity comes, and a lot of stuff from the fridge is actually brought by the microbes to the plants.
Okay, so it doesn't matter.
Sorry?
I was going to say, so it doesn't matter so much as long as you're measuring how much is in the fridge. It doesn't matter so much when you take the sample.
When you take it, you know, if you have a midsummer and you take a sample, and you have plenty in the fridge, and you see, most of the time I see a lot of available then as well, because
Yeah.
the temperature is high if you have enough organic matter. That doesn't mean next spring there is enough available again,
Right.
but in the fridge it will be there.
Okay. So you
It
have,
is actually, we should, what we can learn from as arable farmers, from dairy farmers. Yeah, if you don't treat the dairy cow well, not only feed them well but treat them well,
yeah,
he will give milk.
yeah,
We should treat our soil well. Yeah, we can put a lot of fertilizers there, but the soil is actually the producing factor for the crop, where the cow is the producing factor for the milk.
okay,
And the rumen and the intestines from a cow is one bunch of microbes.
yeah,
In the soil is one bunch of microbes. If I mistreat the microbes in the soil, it's the same as acidosis with a dairy cow.
yeah,
Then I have mistreated them and I shifted to the wrong type of microbes. Still a lot of microbes in the rumen, yeah, but they produce only lactic acid, and
yeah,
the cow is not producing. If I mistreat my soil, for example, if I keep it in the winter anaerobic, and I because it is flood and I didn't take the water air soil triangle in mind, you are mistreating your soil. But what is worse, you're mistreating the microbes in the soil who have to feed your crop. So we have to really go from the focus pictures, what we did actually from after the Second World War. We looked at the focus, we wanted to know more. So we were specialists, and we have forgotten the cow as a whole, and we have forgotten a soil as a whole, because soil is not just a substrate, it is a living substrate.
yeah. The big picture, that's what we
The
need.
big picture is very important.
Okay, so hopefully a soil analysis will help us see more of the big picture.
Yeah, and a lot of agriculture, no, a lot of people, even agronomists, have to learn this, because if we look to the agriculture colleges and agriculture universities over the last 20-25 years, has gone to that focus of become specialists in fertilizers, specialists in pesticides. We have specialists, but we don't have real holistic specialists anymore who can see the whole picture.
Yeah.
So it's fun as well. If you learn in your hobby more, can't be more fun. So study again.
Yeah, relearn, research.
Relearn, research, and a good soil analysis. Actually, it would be a very good thing if those big labs would start courses in reading a soil analysis.
Well,
we have more colors, we have more bars, we have more beautiful outcomes, but there are be less and less easy reading anymore. And I was thought the other day again, maybe I should give courses again in reading soil samples, because that's the beginning.
yeah. Well, perhaps this podcast and this series will start something off. You never know.
Oh, you never know. I'm in for it.
Excellent. Well, I'm gonna draw it to a close there, and then what I'll do is we'll have our second session, and then we'll talk about what to actually look for in a report. So all the things, all the units you need to measure, all the different types of things that should be included, and we'll go into a bit more detail in that. So for now, I'm going to say goodbye. So thank you very much, Jan. Appreciate that, and I'll see you very shortly.
We do. Bye-bye.
Bye.